All right, well, we have a lot to get to with this. This morning, top Democratic lawmakers are pressing the Justice Department and Securities and Exchange Commission to investigate whether Silicon Valley Bank executives broke any laws. Now, this comes just days after the bank's collapse and subsequent fallout. So joining us to shine a little light on this subject is Matthew Faulkner, assistant professor in the Department of Accounting and Finance at San Jose State University. Thank you so much, Matthew, for joining us on this topic.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right. So President Biden, we heard about this on Monday morning when he spoke before anything opened up, that depositors will be protected. Their funds will be protected regardless of the FDIC insured $250,000. So that rescue plan involves tapping a reserve of the bank funded federal insurance money. So do we have enough money to cover that much? And will this have any fallout for taxpayers?
Yeah, I think they'll be set in terms of providing the deposits of those who want to get their money out. And then if there are any losses left over, the point is to have this special assessment to any other banks in the U.S. to cover that loss, therefore not affecting us as taxpayers, especially those a lot of times don't want to bail out a big bank if they either weren't working with them or don't see them as the need to bail out when in 2008, people were getting kicked out of their homes, yet the banks were getting bailouts.
I'm wondering with this too, Matthew, does this bailout policy that Biden announced on Monday give any implication to all banks that if something happens, the Federal Reserve would just come to the rescue? Are you seeing any benefits from this or more so unintended consequences in the future?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a scary precedent to set. However, I'll point to this, that as a financial institution, when we put our money in the bank, we do so because we believe it's safe and we'll be able to access it when we need it. However, if the FDIC was originally set up to cover $250,000 of our deposits, and now all of our deposits are safe, what precedent does that set going forward? I believe will have to be a dive into what are the regulations around what the FDIC will and will not cover in the future, because how are they going to pick and choose banks as this happens occasionally throughout our history? As this happens, how do you pick and choose which banks to help all their depositors and which banks to only help their $250,000? It
raises a lot of questions of who's involved with this. So going on to how SVB is being investigated with this, we're learning there's many failures that's been going on long before this even happened, long before the collapse. How did these go unnoticed? And should Americans be concerned that the same thing is happening with their other banks?
Yeah, hindsight's always 20/20. I'm not surprised to hear the push or when the investigation is announced on what happened, including whether there was anything that may have broken laws. So that will happen in the future. I believe we're pretty safe as our general financial institutions. If you have more than $250,000 in an account, consider opening up multiple accounts because that'll cover all of your FDIC insurance.
That's a good piece of advice right there. Matthew Faulkner, assistant professor in the Department of Accounting and Finance at San Jose State University. Thank you so much. I appreciate your insight on this.
Thank you for having me.